everyone, and welcome to WellSprings on this lovely first day of fall. My name is Julie. My pronouns are she and her, and I want to invite you to join us in song. So please rise, whether in body or in spirit. We're debuting a new song today, so take a listen and sing along.
Hello, California morning. Hello, Mississippi dawn. And you rise the sleep out of your eyes. You thought tomorrow never come. How you gonna ride this wave depends what frequency you're on. Go and make yourself known. Tomorrow knows their own. I got joy in my heart this morning. I got trouble on my mind. Yes, my people know how to feel two ways about something at the very same time. Yeah, the joy for the new day coming. Yeah, the troubles for that too. 'Cause we've come so far, so far. There's so much left to do. Hello, California morning. Hello, Mississippi dawn. tomorrow knows their own.
Please take a seat for our next one. We're going to slow it down with Love Can Build a Bridge.
Got a lot of sing-along songs today.
And we have Elliot filling in on guitar this morning.
Walk across the shoes upon to share with you a bread I had. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. Your hopes are sinking. Let me show you what love means. Love can a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can a bridge. Think it time. So every heart could understand the love, only love, and the tribe man. I would give my heart's desire so that I realize that with you and me, love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Think it's time. Don't you think it's time? When we sit together, it's this time I won't do anything, anything. Keep believing in the power. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Oh, yes I do. Love can build a bridge. Love and only love between your heart and mine. Between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Please rise for our next song. Ronnie's going to lead this, so he's got like 4 hats today. Guitar, piano, vocalist, and preacher.
And I'm stalling too.
Vamper.
2, 3, and... Sometimes I'm right, I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. The butcher, the baker, the drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in. Sing it with me. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah.
There is a blue one who can't accept the green one, for living with a fat one, trying to be a skinny one.
Different strokes for different folks.
So on and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby.
Ooh, sha-sha. Sing it.
We gotta live together.
I am no better, neither are you. We are the same, whatever we do. You love me, you hate me, you know me, and then you can't figure out what bag I'm in. I am everyday people.
There is a long hair that doesn't like the short hair, for being such a rich one that will not help the poor one. Different strokes for different folks. So on and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby.
Ooh, sha-sha. You know.
Oh, we gotta live together. There is a yellow one that won't accept the black one, that won't accept the red one, that won't accept the white one.
Different strokes for different folks. So on and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha-sha. I am everyday people.
Sing it out.
I am everyday people. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah. I am everyday people.
Welcome to WellSprings, both those of you here in Bell Hall and those of you watching at home online. My name is Sandy Tucker. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm honored to be your worship leader today. Each week when we gather, we light a chalice as a symbol of our spiritual heritage. It is not just a symbol of what is past, but of what is present, that inner light, that divine spark that is a part of each of us. As we light this chalice, may we share that light with each other and with the world. And today I've asked Arlene and Patrick Dolan to come up and light the chalice. And together we say, we light our chalice to celebrate the path lit before us, the warmth of kindness that shines from within us, and the radiance of wisdom that is shared between us and never goes out. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Our mission here at WellSprings is to be a community charged full with the charge of the soul. When I was 19, I was blessed to go to college in Sussex, England for a full year. And it wasn't one semester, it was the entire year. And many wonderful things happened during that year, and one was I grew up. But one thing that stood out was the British professors had very high standards, and they didn't take any BS from the American students. They made you grow, and I really got myself together and started doing better in school from then on, which was great. The other thing, another highlight, was my roommate in college took a theater course, and they had tickets to all the Broadway plays in London, and they always had an extra ticket. So I saw all these plays. I was 19, what did I know? But I saw Hair the first time around when it first came out. It was a wonderful experience, and what happened for me was it opened a whole new world of traveling, which I didn't know. I was 19. I didn't know that how much I would love traveling, and I did. We traveled a lot. But when I came home, what was really good for me, when my husband and I got together, Ken, he shared that same passion. And so we've been traveling ever since. And it's just one of those things that stays with you. So I'm hoping today, when opportunity for adventure presents itself, I'm hoping that you take that risk and go for it, because you never know what kind of passion it's going to open up in you. May you live a blessing. Amen. This morning, I'd especially like to welcome any newcomers. If this is your first or second time with us, we're glad you're here. I hope you'll fill out a connection card so you can learn more about us and start to introduce yourself. If you're watching from home, there's a link to the online connection card in the description below the video. If you're here in Bell Hall, you can fill out a connection card on your phone by scanning the QR code that appears on the screen during the announcements. If anyone would like to interact with folks who are joining online this morning, there's a live chat available on YouTube. To access it, you will need a YouTube or Google account. Just sign in and then click the live chat to say hello. Finally, you can always find more information about today's service, as well as upcoming events and news, by scanning the QR code available on the welcome table just by the front doors as you walk into Bell Hall. That same QR code will also appear on the screen during the announcements. And now for our announcements for this week and for the QR code, I'll turn it over to our Membership and Communications Coordinator, Beth Trandle.
Over here, you'll find a QR code that you can scan at any point for more information. Now, all of our announcements today are for things that are occurring today, this Sunday. You might have noticed that our intern, Nick Sanchez, has been missing from Bell Hall the last few Sundays. He's been ill and was briefly in the hospital, but is now recovering at home. Our caring team has brought a card for him for you to sign and put your well wishes in. You can find the card in the back of Bell Hall at the table where you'll find me. Feel free to sign it, send your well wishes to Nick, and let's hope that he feels better soon. Join us after service today for our next You the Vote letter writing campaign party. We'll be in the left side of Bell Hall in a classroom. You can feel free to stop by and help us write letters. For those under 18, we will have a shell painting project to help get out the vote. There will be pizza provided for all. Today is the last day for you to contribute to the art project for the installation for Reverend Lee next Sunday. This project, while beautiful, does not require much artistic talent on your part. So feel free to stop by the Heartworks table outside of Bell Hall today and contribute to this beautiful project. And finally, today is the first of 4 opportunities for you to join the members of the UUA Welcoming Congregation Committee. Bring your questions, join this listening circle, and see what we need to do to move forward with this wonderful project. That's all for today. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Beth. At WellSprings, the foundation of all we do is rooted in the power of connection, of making space in our hearts and in our lives for each other. This is a part of the service where we honor that connection by greeting one another. We recognize our community's presence well beyond these walls, so feel free to take a moment now to connect and share a greeting in the live chat, or maybe to say hello on WellSprings Oasis, our private group on Facebook. For those here in Bell Hall, a reminder to please ask before hugging or approaching closely. And if you prefer to keep distance from others for any reason, just stay seated. That'll be our cue to give you a friendly wave from afar. With gratitude for all the ways we might connect, please greet one another now. Thank you for those warm greetings. Those here in Bell Hall are invited to continue your conversations at coffee hour, which will take place right here in this room after the service. I invite you now into our time of generosity, an opportunity to express our gratitude for and commitment to the ways the spiritual community has an impact on our lives. We sustain WellSprings now. We sustain WellSprings now and into the future through our contributions. If you'd like, you can use your phone to give from anywhere. Just text WSPRINGS to 73256. It's also easy and convenient to automate your giving on Realm. Our greeters will be bringing hats around for those who wish to donate by hand. You can drop a check or a cash donation into the box near the front doors on the welcome table. Thank you for all the ways your gifts support WellSprings. Our offering will now be gratefully received. Having shared energy between us and giving beyond us, let's take some time now to reground into the deep and soulful energy that's within. We do this by doing what's most simple and elemental in our lives. We take a breath, inhaling and exhaling, without rush or hurry. Breathing in and breathing out. There's nowhere else to go, nowhere else to be. Let us cultivate peace and experience presence together. As we prepare for our time of mindful silence, we follow these words from Thich Nhat Hanh. If we want to enter heaven on earth, we need only one conscious step and one conscious breath. Wherever it is that we are, whatever it is that we are doing, however it is that we are feeling, let us remember that peace and presence are always as close to us as is our own breath. May this be so for us this moment, may it be so for us this day, and may it be so for all of us in the days to come. And now I'd like to invite our congregation's children to join our staff and volunteers in the back of the room for their time of fellowship in youth spirit. They will be meeting over in Gresh. And now let's join the band for our next song. Invite them back up.
I'm a Midwest farmer doing the work of the Lord. Pentagon general, turning plowshares into swords. I'm a nuclear bomb with a bald eagle flies, raindrops falling from a black and blue sky. I'm the blood of the children on the city streets at night. I'm a high school senior, can't read the Bill of Rights. I am American. I am American. I'm a TV preacher, TV talk show host. KKK, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. I'm a New York rebel in tight blue jeans. Got needle marks on my arms and eyes like James Dean. I'm homeless on the sidewalk next door to the president. I'm in Wade's mother of three, paying the White House rent. I am American. I am American. God shed His grace on thee, and I sing na 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 America, na 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 America, na 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 America, na 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 America. I'm the Indian and the buffalo, the hole in the sky. Small town parade, baseball and apple pie. I'm the first man on the moon and the ghettos that burn. I'm Oprah Winfrey and Howard Stern. I'm Martin and JFK, God rest their souls. Janice, Jimmy and Jim and the king of rock and roll. I am American. I am American. God shed His grace on thee. Na 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 America. Na 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 America. Na 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 America. Na 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 Constitution, throw away your political plan, throw away your contribution, on the concrete on what you stand. Stand naked in the brilliant sun, throw yourself down in the dirt, work till the sun goes down, make a bed of grass and earth. And in the morning when you awake, you tell me all your dreams. I'll give you food, you will give me food. We are one. We are whole. We are whole. We are we. Yes, we are. Oh, yes, we are. We are whole. We are whole. We are one. And your ideas of control. Throw away your television, the truth and lies that you're told. Stand naked in the brilliant sun, throw yourself down in the dirt. Work till the sun goes down, make a bed of grass and earth. And in the morning when you awake, you'll tell me all your dreams. I'll give you food, you will give me food. We are one. We are whole. We are whole. We are one. Yes, we are. Oh, yes, we are. We are whole. We are whole. We are one. Yes, we are. Oh, yes, we are. We are whole. We are whole. We are whole. We are one. Okay, am I on? Here? Check. Woo. So, today is the perfect day for me to be giving this message because for me, I'm not on. Okay. Oh, there we go. You can hear me again. So, today is the perfect day for me to be giving this message because, as was pointed out earlier, I woke up this morning with a lot of stress and anxiety because I'm preaching, doing a couple songs. Andy's not here. So, perfect day for me to giving you a message about how to handle some of these things. Let's see, by a show of hands, how many of you are just burned out, exhausted, anxious about life and the world we live in, and it all seems too much? Okay, almost everybody. Actually, the people who aren't, maybe they should come up and also talk. I'd love to find out what's going on in your world, because that's pretty cool. I know I feel that way. I also feel impotent and overwhelmed by the world's problems. If I could do just something, if I could just figure out what that one thing is that I could do, I believe I would feel better. How many of you don't have to raise your hand for this one, but how many of you celebrate Martin Luther King, Thich Nhat Hanh, I won't mention her because that could be political. Okay, Oprah. We see them all as superhumans. We see them as doing something important or meaningful, and we feel, or at least I do, that I'm not doing enough. And more, the things in people we cherish will disappear if we don't step up in a big way and do something super big. And if we don't do it, it'll all be over. This is the kind of thinking that can make us crazy. So I was thinking about all of this and wondered what to share for our fall message, Breathing Together. It's our theme where we will be talking about in September and October, and it's all about how we move through the world with some sense of grounding and calm, even in times when we truly feel like we're living through history, or I should say we're part of it, or making history. So I was thinking about all this, how to address those feelings, and I came up with how to address these feelings when things come up and we all feel the world is a mess. So I asked myself, what spiritual practices would be supportive? And I came up with a few ideas and, of course, some stories, because I love to tell stories. And I'll keep revisiting these three main points. We are part of and connected to everything. Some of us feel that more, and some of us feel it less, but we are. We're part of it all. Boundaries and borders help us achieve balance. And to quote that great Long Island, New York prophet and poet Billy Joel, we did not start the fire. It's been burning since the world's been turning. So, here's the story that I'll be weaving out throughout my little talk here. America was a mere 47 years old when the states declared war on England for the second time, June 8th, 1812. There was some contention over Americans' expansion west, the annexation of Canada, and Atlantic and Caribbean maritime rights, and trade embargoes. During the war, if someone can, picture number one, during that war, the British set fire to the Capitol building, the Library of Congress, and the White House. Luckily for us Americans at the time, a storm, or possibly a tornado, came in and put out the fire, and that coupled with 30 British soldiers dying in a gunpowder accident, the British left D.C., and the American soldiers were able to go back in and take D.C. back. On February 17, 1815, the war ended. So, why do I tell you this? Well, so for 3 years, The people of this country lived through that kind of chaos. Buildings burned, attacks on the Capitol, war on our own homeland, and they made it through. It gives us some empathy, maybe for what it felt like, because we know how that feels today. Not all of it, but we have some of those same feelings and anxieties that the world is just imploding and falling apart. During that same time, a young farmer, Thomas Egbert, and his wife Margaret Roberts, were looking to buy a plot of land. Thomas was a farmer, and on November 9th of 1816, they bought 3.5 acres of land and spent 2 years building a 6-room house that they completed June 8th, 1819. That couple had 4 boys and 7 girls and created a life in that home. This morning, picture number 2, I woke up in that house that Thomas and Margaret had built, participating in the 205-year history. My house at 2501 Butler Pike is still here. America had just fought a war that we could have lost, and at the same time, a couple was saving money, bought land, and built a house. They built the life. Life continues. It keeps on going. And we're just the latest cast members in an ongoing play. We all contribute. There's no destination, no final outcome. And if there is, we won't know it. We continue to dance between the dark and the light. I wonder how Thomas and Margaret manage the stress sometimes, because when you're in the moment, things seem so chaotic, and it can be so hard to remember the big picture, let alone make plans for the future. But there are some spiritual resources that can help us. For me, the idea of Technahon's interbeingness. Technahon had developed a new word, interbeing. Interbeing is the interconnectedness of all things in the universe. We're all one. And all that exists is everything. In a video I saw online, Technahon uses the example of a flower. He says it just looks like a flower, and yes, it's beautiful, but in that flower is the sun, the wind, the clouds, the dirt, the beauty, the love of God. It's all there in that flower. It's present. And as I was writing this, I personally started to weep, not from sadness, but from the awesomeness of the power of knowing that that same elements in those flowers are in me, and they're in all of you. All of those same things, the elements, the essence of God's love that makes that flower beautiful, are in all of us. And if you slow down and practice one conscious breath, that breath can take that all in. And I know it sounds crazy, but the anxiety begins to disappear. And slowly, we can find peace. At least for a moment, we can find some balance and some peace. So, back to the history of my house. Let's look at a short 10 or 15 years after my house was built. And for that, we're going to travel down south for a minute and meet these 2 sisters. This is the Grimmick sisters, Sarah and Angelina. Now, when you look, someone just look at their picture like, oh, okay. Wow. It was, keep in mind, it's 1838, okay? Just keep 1838, just remember that. So the Grimmick sisters, and I might be pronouncing their name incorrectly, but I looked it up and I couldn't find a correct pronunciation. Sarah and Angelina were privileged in South Carolina. Their parents owned slaves. Their father believed women should be subordinate to men, so he educated his sons, but he did not educate his daughters. The sisters took it upon themselves to learn on their own. They thought that women should be given the same rights as men, that slavery was an evil practice and needed to be abolished. Angelina was particularly outspoken, which got her into trouble with her family and community. They eventually moved to Philadelphia, where they entered the Society of Friends. Angelina joined the Philadelphia anti-slavery movement in 1835. Angelina wrote a letter expressing her beliefs, and a local publisher was so impressed with her letter that he published it in the newspaper. Abolitionists from all over the country praised her, eloquent and her passion. But not everybody's perfect. The Quaker community in Philadelphia condemned her for stepping out of bounds of a modest female behavior. On Monday, May 14, 1838, a four-day abolitionist convention began in Philadelphia. It was the first event in Pennsylvania Hall. They created a hall downtown, which the abolitionists built so they could have meetings. And the abolitionists built because their unpopular cause made it difficult to rent meeting space. That night, Angelina married a fellow abolitionist, Theodore Weld. You don't need to remember these names. There won't be a test, but I love giving this stuff because I'm a history nerd. Okay. Both black and white abolitionists were in attendance. This is 1838 in Philadelphia. On Wednesday, May 16th, Angelina gave a speech to the convention that evening. A noisy anti-abolitionist mob had gathered outside the building. The mob interrupted her several times. They threw rocks through the windows. The mob of northern whites were particularly angry because black abolitionists were present at the meeting. They screamed insults and threw more rocks, and when black and white women left the building arm in arm on Thursday after the mayor canceled the convention to restore peace, the mob broke in the empty building and set it on fire. Firefighters allowed the structure to burn to the ground. That same year, the Egberts, back to my house, deeded part of their land to create an elementary school, which is up the hill, which would one day become up the hill from what would become my house one day. Cold Point was a Quaker community and was started by freemen. Many Quakers were banned from churches in the area, and so in 1858, Abolition Hall was built right down the street from my house. The hall hosted the likes of Frederick Douglass, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Lucrette Mott, and that was walking distance from my house. That's hard to believe when I take that in, that like down the street from my house, all these people came to speak at a time when they were hunted and being threatened and buildings were being burned, and two women of privilege from the South spoke out so much that it caused a mob. Angelina Gremick is remembered and celebrated for her contribution somewhat. I mean, if you go downtown and take a walking tour of Philadelphia, you will find out about these two sisters in their fight against the slavery. The Egberts gave some land to create a school, and I'm probably the only person that knows about them because when I purchased my house, I got this little packet of the history of my house. That's how I know all this stuff about the history of my house, which is really cool. But for most of all, their contribution is lost to history. But they still made an impact. Some of us are called to make our lives work helping other people, and others, it's simple acts of kindness. Some are organizers, and some of us are just struggling to get through the day. But that's okay. Life is hard. I mean, take that really in. Life is hard. I know personally so many people, rich, poor, middle class, young, old, who are having a difficult time. And it's okay to have an emotional response. In some cases, a physical response. When I was driving here, I was thinking about my talk, and I was like, my chest started to get tight because I'm preaching and I'm playing keyboards and I'm going to play guitar and Andy's not here and oh God, and then we're doing a new song and then I'm playing 2 songs by myself and then and my chest started sweating. I'm like, oh right, that's what I'm preaching about. Oh, what did I say to do? Breathe, right. So I'm in the car, I'm like, breathe, right. One of the things that helps me to take a step back when life is hard is talking to someone, being in connection. One of the things I love about WellSprings is that we are a community and that we talk and listen to each other. I have a lot of people I can talk to, but I also have a coach, and my coach helps me to work on patterns in personal growth. So in a reaching coaching session, my coach told me, just because I empathize and sympathize with someone, like when I'm feeling the weight of the world and all this history is making, stuff's happening around me, doesn't mean I have to take it all in. I can discipline myself in managing my emotions. Now, that doesn't mean I'm ignoring them or burying them. I know how to do both of those very well. Even though I think my feelings are the most important thing in the world, I also know how to go, I don't like that particular one, so we're going to bury that one. On the contrary, but acknowledging and using them can be empowering. Like, you don't have to raise your hands, but I know that most of you or all of you, when you get overwhelmed by life and are driven more than, actually, let me ask the question, sorry. I'm improvising this partly. How many of you feel that when you're overwhelmed, you are driven solely by your emotions? Oh. I see it's interesting because I say it like this. People are like, I'm not going to admit that. I'm not talking about that. So I am one of those people who can truly be driven by how I feel. And I'm learning and working on it, and that maybe my feelings are not the most important thing. In fact, maybe how I feel is not that important. Oh my God, that is so hard for me to, again, that how I feel is not important. But there are so many other things to evaluate and look at in front of me, like I'm going to church. I'm loved. I love everybody there. They love me. What could go wrong? Even if I mess up, it'll be fine. Breathe. Oh, that's true. Oh, if I mess up, I can do it again next time I preach. That's also true. Okay, breathe. What if I make a mistake in a song? Rod, you make mistakes in songs every week. Okay, breathe. Right. So if I look at other things besides the fact of all the craziness that's going on in my head, there are other things that I can use to look at. There are many tools and information to evaluate what's coming at me and what's inside by just looking around us and being in the moment, but also setting boundaries. And those boundaries are like, no, I'm not going to allow myself to go down that hole. I'm going to stop. That's easy to say, hard to do, but it is just the moment of being at choice within ourselves. And I wish I had that kind of discipline. I'm working toward it, but there's something I found online that I absolutely have fallen in love with. I don't know about you guys, but I find myself scrolling on Reels, yes, on Facebook or on Instagram, and I came across these videos these little animated cartoons that I absolutely love. They're so bad, but I love them. And I wish I had the discipline of the main character in all these series, because she knows how to set boundaries. So can we show a little bit, this little clip here? I love these. Oh, wait, can you turn it up? Wait, can you start it again and turn it up so it's loud enough so everybody can hear?
Yeah, I don't mind. I could use the overtime. I'm actually not authorized to pay.
Oh, you can't hear it. Can we make it a little
I was kind of hoping that you
a little
would
bit
come in late
louder
tomorrow.
and start it again? Let's see. Yeah. Okay, let's try again. Hey, Veronica, do you think you could stay a little tonight? Just maybe like an hour or two?
I could use the overtime.
Yeah, I could use the overtime.
I'm actually not authorized to
I actually am not authorized to pay you overtime right now, so I was kind of hoping you would come in late and leave early.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just come in late Friday because I have an appointment anyway, so. No, you wouldn't be able to come in late on Friday. Tomorrow's the only day that I can spare you. Okay, so then no, I can't stay. No, but I'm sorry, you just said you could stay, so are you gonna stay? No, I can't do it, I'm sorry. That means that I'm inconveniencing myself and you guys are not having to meet me halfway. It has to be a mutual benefit in order for me to do this, because if I'm staying later, that means that I'm getting home later, that means I'm sitting in more traffic, that means that my dog is waiting later to get walked and taken. And it's just an overall inconvenience for me to stay later. I was willing to do it because I need the overtime, but if I'm not even getting that, coming in late or leaving early doesn't do anything for me. So I can pass. I can pass on that. We're just all having to pitch in a little more around here, you know? I really appreciate it if you could stay. And I understand that. And if you're that short-staffed and that tight for people, I'm willing to stay for the overtime. If you need me that bad, then you're willing to pay. Otherwise, maybe you can do it. As a manager, isn't it your role to kind of... Well, I'm salaried, so it really doesn't matter if I stay later. I can't really come in later, leave early another day. So it really just doesn't make sense for me to stay any later tonight. I hope that makes sense. I'm sure it makes sense in your mind, but as a salaried employee, I make significantly more per hour if you were to break it down anyway than I do even with overtime. So it makes more sense for you to stay than for me to stay since you're getting paid a lot more. I'll stay for the overtime, otherwise, okay. I'll find someone else. Thank you. Yep, good luck.
So, you got to watch all of these. They pop up on Reels, and the thing I love about them is Jessie is so disciplined. I mean, the character, she's just so disciplined and like, you are not going to cross my boundary. But she's not mean. She's not angry. She is stern or very like, what can feel, I know to some of us that can feel like, oh, she's not a nice person. But why is she not a nice person? She's setting a boundary. And what I love in some of the other ones is every time her boss comes and talks to her, she sends her an email recapping what they just talked about. So there's a record of it. So it's just, we just had a conversation and you asked me to walk overtime and I said I couldn't do it and you refused to pay me for overtime, so I'm not doing it. You know, like she would just send an email, so there's a record of it. It's so brilliant. But again, I show it because it really does speak to how disciplined we could be with ourselves. Like if there is a boundary that we set, we can be that determined by it because knowing if that boundary is crossed, it will hurt us. It can damage us. And if we know that, and then we willingly participate in letting those boundaries down, we're going to be in trouble. Just imagine if we could have that kind of discipline with ourselves, and it would be great with all the alerts and news breaks, emails, texts, posts, and general inclusions, all designed to agitate, release endorphins, to lull us into euphoria, that make us feel inadequate. But we're in control of what we let in. And it doesn't make us ineffective if we don't know everything that's going on every single second of every day, or if we don't participate in everything. We are at choice as how we want to address the injustice, the bad, the good things in the world. We just have to remember that we're made up of God's love, and we are made up of the sun and the earth. And like the song says that we didn't play today, we're made up of energy. And if Einstein is correct that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but over time continuously transforms from one state of consciousness to another, and maybe, just maybe, that's the everlasting life that the Christian tradition promises. If we're all energy, we're here forever. We're going to be whirling around the universe in some shape or form for the rest of the time. So, I could keep going on with world events as they relate to my house. Obviously, terrible things never stopped happening. I mean, you know, the Civil War, the centennial was probably this really cool thing. Well, not probably, it was this really cool thing that happened when the country reached 100 years. I often imagine that the people who lived in my house went to the centennial and crawled up in the torch of the Statue of Liberty because it was on exhibition there. Just the torch, because that was France's gift to us in 1876. There were the invention of cars, and I mention that because by the turn of the century, my house was a gas station from the early part of the 20th century until the 70s. Let's see, the fall of the Russian Empire, the Spanish flu, World War I, World War II. I could go on and on and on of all the challenging things that have happened over time. But again, this morning, I woke up in a house that has stood for 205 years. And again, nothing's going to last forever. We are forever changing and evolving, and maybe one day that house will be gone. I know one day I'll be transformed into some other form of energy. But when I walk from the bedroom to the bathroom, I always look out the window. I can almost see the horses and buggies, and it reminds me of the awesome responsibility that I am not the owner, but just the latest caretaker of my house, my community, the city, state, country, the space that I live in. And I think about how long that house has been there, which in the grand scheme of things is barely a little teeny tiny blip of human history, but still in America 205 years is a big deal. And it makes me feel a little bit safer, a little more secure, and of course, you know, a little less alone, knowing that I'm part of an ongoing story. And it makes me think of that great curious conundrum of living life in the present moment. I am everything, I am nothing. I am standing on the shoulders of history, I am making history. I am powerful and I contain multitudes. I am powerless and I am humbled. I can change the world. I can only change me. I am part of it all. I am interbeingness full of love and God and light of the sun that made all of the elements on this planet. And I will grow and bloom and then wither and return to from whence I came. Amen. Will you pray with me? God, Spirit, help us find the strength. Lead us, find the strength to live through these turbulent and difficult times, to find the strength to have boundaries, and at the same time be open to the world's gifts and love. And yeah, pain. I love what Rev Ken used to say, that our hearts were meant to be broken, and that is where we find grace, in the brokenness of our hearts. Amen.
Check, check. Technical difficulties.
Thank you, Joe.
Are we on? Check.
I have a mic.
Oh, wait.
Okay, now we're back.
Oh, okay.
We're
good.
here.
Check, check, check. Breathe, breathe.
We got it.
Breathe.
Please rise in body or in spirit for our last song.
And
The old man said to me, said, don't always take life so seriously. Play the flute and dance and sing your song. Try and enjoy the here and now. The future will take care of itself somehow. Grass is never greener over there. Time will wear away the stone. Gets the heredity bone. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. The old man said to me, said you can't take the change handedly. Raise the glass, enjoy the scenery. Pretend the water is champagne and fill my glass again and again while the worms are circling round your door. Time will wear away the stone. Gets the heredity bone. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. The old man said to me, said, don't always take life so seriously. Play the flute and dance and sing your song. Try and enjoy the here and now. The future will take care of itself somehow. Grass is never greener over there. Time will wear away the stone. Gets the heredity bone. I try to live my life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. I bit off more than I can chew. Only so much you can do. Wolves are gathering round my door. Ask them in and invite some more. I tried to live my life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't go speed your time away.
And as we release this flame from its service today, we repeat the words or recite the words on the screen. As we release this flame from its fateful service today, we allow in each of us to burn on. Warm our compassion, to fire our delight, to light our paths today, tomorrow, and always. And I encourage you to go forth and see and look and recognize how you are part of this great, great, long history of humans on the planet. Amen. Band, let's take us out. Huh? There we go. We just called an audible. 1, 2, 3, 4.